Start over. Oh, good morning, everybody. I'm Miley Gray, Chair. I'm sorry, I missed last month's meeting. I was off doing something really fun, and I'm sure you guys were having fun here, too. So, anyway, welcome. And we would are we voting on anything today? Do we have a quorum? I don't think that we have. But if we're not voting on anything, it's kind of a moot point, but yes.
We put in an application to make community and be the representative.
Oh, what's your name?
Phil.
Oh, hi, Phil.
I think we need to vote on that.
Yeah.
We can do that from the floor.
Oh, we could do that from the floor.
We do that before.
And we do have a quorum. Thank you. Yes. Well, I'm glad. Thank you. Okay, so do we have a move to?
No, I have a.
Oh.
I
What?
have an issue with the agenda.
Oh, well, I was gonna say, is there a motion to approve the agenda? And then you would say,
No, I have a discussion point. Thanks. Jolene Hausman, Fountain Valley Senior Center. My question on the agenda is when we look at last month's meetings, we had discussed the 5310 plan, and Brian, I thought we were going to get a copy of that with this month's agenda. Yeah, you had said that you were going to send over the FTA 5310 plan last month. Oh, can we get a copy of that?
Sure. I did not put this.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
microphones?
Sorry. I thought it was Joe asking for it, which I did send it to him.
Okay,
Yeah,
but we can get that.
Sure.
distributed.
Yeah, it's public information, I'm assuming.
absolutely.
Well, and none of the small agencies can qualify to apply for 5310 funds since it's a UZA, so.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I move to accept the agenda.
Second. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so this is a time for public comments, items that are not on the agenda. Anybody have anything to talk about, please? This is your time.
Well, we may want to do introductions since
Oh,
Phil's somewhere.
I'm sorry. I introduced myself. I thought that was just all we needed. But no, I'm just kidding. I am so just kidding. Please, thank you. Let's have an introductions. Sharon, would you like to start?
Okay, I'm Sharon Brown. I represent the city of Fountain.
I'm Phil Van Horn, representing Invita.
John Carroll, Special Kids, Special Families.
Victoria Solser, Silver Key.
Diana Van Auken, Teller Senior Coalition.
Joe Urban, Area Agency on Aging.
Karen Teal, Drive Smart, Colorado.
Brian Champion, Mountain Metro Transit.
Joe Vaccaro, at large. It's one of these buttons. There it is. Joe Vaccaro, at large, community at large.
I will talk for the folks in back since they don't have a microphone. Jessica Bechtel is doing all of our notes, and Melissa Martz, our Program Development Administrator as well.
Thank you. Miley Gray, Drive Chair and Drive Smart Colorado.
Jolene Hausman, Second Vice Chair, Fountain Valley Senior Center.
Sorry about that. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me about that. So back to public comments. Anybody have anything that they would like to say?
I'll just follow up with last month's meeting. Jolene Hausman, Fountain Valley Senior Center. Fountain Valley Senior Center and Vida and Silver Key are still working together to work with the City of Colorado Springs and Mountain Metro for specialized transit, and so we are trying to come to a universal solution to best serve all the vulnerable citizens in our community.
Anything else, folks?
I'll just mention, I ran into Jason O'Brien, I believe. He's the transit planner at PPACG at a different meeting a couple weeks ago. And he mentioned that they're starting the process of creating the 2045 transit and specialized transit plan. PPACG is. So if any of you guys are interested in being a part of that as well, he recommended emailing him so he can get that process rolling. I'm sure Joe could probably provide his contact information if
I can
don't
provide
have
contact information. That's probably about all. That process is just beginning. That's a contractor-driven. It's a consultant that drives that process. And we were going to actually ask them, I think, to come down and give us kind of an overview at some point when they got rolling. So probably next month, maybe would be a good time to do that.
At the meeting?
Yes, here.
Okay.
Just kind of an overview.
Okay.
That is a transportation-driven process and a consultant-driven process, so it's detached from certainly from the AAA a little bit, but
I think that would be great.
they could give us a good overview.
Can you invite them?
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. That would be interesting. Okay, thank you. So anyway, the discussion item, plan a public event for 2019 to showcase MCC transportation options. I'm not sure where that's going, because we sent out a request for volunteering to help. It's still on the agenda, so.
I was thinking we killed it last month.
Oh, well, then it's still on the agenda.
Yeah,
agenda.
that's my fault for not picking that up.
And I wasn't here last month, so.
I think we stuck a fork in it. Am I not
Okay,
correct?
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, scratch that. I actually have an idea. Is this a good time to bring it up? Okay. Oh, right. Oh, right. Okay, so I was very intrigued by something that this committee did when Angel Bond was still around. And she put this little piece of paper together with a lot of hard work and just kind of passed them around. And I know that I've brought this up before, but I was thinking that before this gets much further along, that I wanted to know what everybody thought about revamping this as an idea, whether we print it on on paper and help distribute it, or we add it to our MCC page on the website. But I like the idea of having a easy to read. I know that it really does feature the one call does it all, peak ride, et cetera, and that's not going to go away. But I personally also like the idea where it really talks about what is available. Do you mind if because we talked about, I sent you a copy of this, I think. What is available out there? Does it take Medicaid? What are the hours? Just quick little look-see for people who are interested in also looking up transit on their own, a phone number to call if they aren't calling the one ride or whatever. And I just am wondering what this group thinks about that. We had talked about that little subcommittee up in Cripple Creek that one day, and I just wanted to put it out that I like it myself, but I am not a transportation provider.
We were actually using these. With DriveSmart. We were putting it in our older driver guide books that we were giving out. So they were an insert in there, and we were also giving them out during CARFETs. So they were getting out into the community through our resources as well, and through our connections and our partners as well.
When
So
it was
very
first put
useful.
out, which was several years ago. So-
I do really like the flyer, and I'm sure Silver Key would do the same in Envita. We can send it out with our monthly newsletter, too, to reach thousands of people. However, I do think it needs updated.
Oh, totally.
And I do think MCC is a subcommittee of PPACG, and so we're funded through PPACG, and that needs to be more highlighted than the One Ride Call Center, which is not funded by PPACG. And so the agency should have the ability to kind of tweak the information on there as the ride providers.
No, not at all. And this
No,
was
it's
when,
not up to date.
Angel,
Years ago.
This was, when, was this like 4 years ago?
4 years ago.
Yeah. so
Almost
it's-
exactly
It's
4.
been a while, and so I just bring it up because I think that first of all, there are people out there who don't use computers,
Yes.
and so they're not going to go to the website to look it up or whatever. And one thing that I would like to make sure that we add on here is something like, this is a, the trendy word these days, it's fluid. So this is a fluid document, and so to make sure, please go to the website, and so we could make sure that the website is always up to date. So if you think that this is something good, because we've tabled the other idea, I'd like to suggest that perhaps at the next meeting, we send around a document, or, well, what do you suggest? That we send, because obviously not everybody's sitting around this room right now. But I want to make sure that somehow it gets out to all of our members so that they do provide something. We need this updated. Perhaps some of the information is the same, no problem. But, and give others an opportunity to put in their information.
And I would highlight, though, PPACG, Office of Area on Aging, and RTA on there, because they are the ones that are funding the ride. So I think that they should also get the credit for those rides.
In looking at this, it looks like, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like these are all open providers. There are no closed providers on there, so that would be a distinction that you.
And what does that mean? Can you just tell me?
Somebody else with more knowledge than me want to talk about it? But-
So anyone that's not actually a member of my agency can call as long as they meet the criteria. So they're either over the age of 60 or have a disability, and we'll just get them once they sign the waiver
Right,
and
so you're saying
everything.
it has to be open to
Yes.
everybody? and
Closed,
not a
closed
member
would be an agency that only serves
Their-
selected clients.
Yes.
Community intersections would be a.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's,
I'll go
okay, go ahead.
Because community intersections has been available to the public, all the different agencies before. I sent out notices on that years ago, and no one responded. And so I assumed at that point they didn't need any service, but it still is available.
The traditional definition would be, like Jolene just said, you can call up and you can get a ride.
Because they're
Yes,
even,
it's
community
something.
intersections is even part of One Ride, and they get no new One Ride clients because they only serve their client base. They're a closed facility right now.
Who is?
Community intersections. They get no new clients through One Ride.
I recommend that if these are all open providers, that be listed, and those qualifications over 60 and/or with a disability or need for service be listed on there somehow. In however we decide to define that, or you decide to define that, I think it should be listed on there, because it just makes it a little bit more user-friendly.
Makes it easier.
And we can highlight, we can get in and graphic this and highlight this stronger, the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments, and we can make it work the way it needs to work with just a little bit of tweaking.
And I'm not suggesting that you exclude closed entities. I just think you need to define them for the public.
Well, can there be an asterisk or something on them?
That's what I was thinking.
With a line at the bottom? I don't know, because,
Jolene, that would be, we would.
microphone.
SKSF, our service then would be a closed transportation service.
Yeah,
because
and
we
maybe
only
just under eligible passengers, that's when you put like current clients or,
Yeah.
like, we can define some kind of verbiage.
Just to give a very brief piece of history, this is, I believe, modeled after the document that Dr. Mack
Dr. Mack,
puts
exactly.
out, which is much more comprehensive because it's Denver, but very, very similar format. And they've used it for years.
I just think it's a really useful tool, and particularly, or in addition to those who do not choose to use computers. This is a handy thing they can stick on their refrigerator if they want to.
Yeah.
So I would like to suggest that perhaps we get a small, maybe we can get a small group of people together to discuss the basics of what we want to make sure are on here in general. And then we move forward and make sure that there is as comprehensive as we can make it and up to date as we can make it, information. And is there anybody within this organization that is a graphics person who can assist with this? Or is this something that we would?
I actually love doing that stuff.
Oh, my gosh. Not only within this organization, but like at this table.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we just got new software to make it pretty.
Does that sound good?
My annual report this year looks the bomb.
Okay. All right. Well, so who might be interested in, like, just 3 or few people, who might be interested in getting together and sitting around and discussing the fine intricacies of things that we want to make sure that are on here or are not on here, and then send it out to the group? Me? Okay, can you guys state your name so Jessica can get it in the minutes, please?
Phil Van Horn.
Okay, Phil,
Victoria Sulzer.
Victoria,
Jolene Houseman.
okay, and Miley. Okay, awesome. How about if immediately following this meeting, the 4 of us just look at our calendars for a second? Does that sound good?
Yes.
Is this anything that needs to be voted on or anything? No, good.
I would add that it's hard to tell kind of by looking at this, but this was a fold-up thing that ended up being about
Yeah.
4 inches by
Yeah.
5 inches.
That was-
And we got multiple comments from folks how handy that format
I
is.
think making
Yes,
it
it
front
wasn't
and
like
back
this.
and
We
turning
did
it
it,
into a
yes.
pocket card that people can keep in their wallets is probably the best way of doing it. Yeah, but that would, like,
It
if you've
was
seen, like,
kinda-
seniors' wallets or people that use public transportation, like, that,
was sort of
to
this-
have it on them is
It was
the
kind
best
of
way.
this size.
Yeah, but that's still.
No, that's
Yeah.
good.
Just
like
No, this is good, but it's sort of this size. We actually had our graphic designer turn it into more of a flyer where we could just do two-sided. We didn't take all of this, supply or anything. We had it printed for ourselves, which is where this came from. But, yeah, you can see how it was.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like that.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see,
and that would
that's how
fit in
it
a
was.
wallet, so.
Yeah. Cool, and then we'll figure out the rest later, like, printing.
Are you going to put other services in? We've never included things like Uber or Lyft or any of those things before. I don't know if that's appropriate for that kind of a list.
Um,
Is our bus service in here? Is our bus service in here?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Then Uber.
Is Yellow Cab in there?
Yeah, Yellow Cab and Bayo's here, so I think that's what maybe the subcommittee needs to decide, because if we are going to list for-profits, then we need to be inclusive of for-profits. Or if we stick with nonprofits and government, the list may be more manageable, too. Because I think you can't have Yellow Cab and not have Uber, Lyft, and all the other, Z-Cab, and I think that could
think
end up
Z-Cab
being a
is Yellow
little
Cab now, isn't
too
it?
much.
I think Z-Trip is now Yellow Cab, or vice versa.
And we may be able to just look at the Medicaid website, too, and pull off their providers and just use their information, not reinvent the wheel if we include those for-profits.
Or is the cab still doing the, not emergency pickups, but out-of-pocket pickups? They used to do some of the things left over for Metro Mobility.
That would be a question.
Yes, they still do.
Do they?
Yeah, Z-Trip.
I wonder if we ever get a Z-Trip person in here at some point, or even Lyft or Uber.
The vice chair used to be Z-Trip, but he retired, so that's not a bad, I don't know if anybody has approached them. Do you guys have a contact, Brian, that you work with over there?
Yes, we would have a contact.
I think we should reach out to School District 11, too, because they've been reaching out to me. They have a lot of concerns about their student transportation, so they may be a good partner to have at the table, too, for the disability population.
Plus, they train half the Class B drivers in the region.
Oh, then they would be a really good partner to have at the table.
I haven't worked with
I can reach out
school
to-
transportation in a long time. It used to be Bill Bear, but I don't know who it is now.
Well, I've gotten lots of calls from them, but especially for their 18 to 21
Okay.
age gap, they're having difficulties there.
That kind of focuses a little bit around your closed versus open discussion.
No, but they use open providers because they don't have any of their own actual transit. They do school. It's really convoluted. They go through Mountain Metro, either through mobility. What? I'm going to say it wrong. What's the ADA? Metro Mobility or specialized transportation is how they get their students everywhere, I think. They don't actually have buses for their 18 to 21 populations. It's very unique.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
And it might be that we can't list everything on this piece of paper, but that we could say we could direct
Additional.
it to the website
yeah.
or that sort of thing. Because this could get to be.
Well, and maybe we focus the
17 pages.
pocket cards more on low-income providers and then refer to the website for all providers, because then people could just carry it around when they don't necessarily have the funds to expand everything.
Anyway, these are things to think about. I mean, this could get, in 8-point font, which isn't going to help anybody.
No.
And this font is small too, and we need to think about the population we serve. Like, we need to
That's
really look into font size and
that's what I mean.
readability.
So maybe it's just in the size that we are giving them. If we want a pocket wallet thing, it can't be. So there's some logistics that we can discuss. But keep this in mind, little committee, for, what things that we want to bring up. Okay.
The Dr. Mack version of this is 8.5 by 11 and about 20 pages.
Yes, it is.
Oh, we're not doing that.
No, but, right. Does anybody have a copy of that? Because it might be really interesting to see some of the verbiage that they use.
Oh, my
What a guy.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, well, yeah, that's good. They could put it in with their iPad or something. Okay, so thank you very much, Will.
Oh, but their font is the one that you're supposed to
Yeah,
use.
that's right.
It is
Yes.
14.
Yeah, it is, so that's good. Okay, well, I'm frankly glad I brought up this discussion, and maybe we can get something accomplished this year.
I do have a question. Woodland Park. Okay, Durham. Do they do any of this? Do you know?
Durham does have activities that they do in the summer.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
What is Durham,
Okay.
please?
They're a national bus company, and they're private. They're totally private. They have bused for Woodland Park for years and years and years and years and years. And when I was still teaching, if we couldn't get a Harrison bus to take our kids on field trips, we take Durham, because they take them anywhere, and they would take them at any time. And with Harrison, you've got to be at certain times and all this. And then they threw a ringer at us, and no, you can't do that anymore. Not only that, they were cheaper, because Harrison would charge a field trip against a team, and Durham was actually cheaper. And they're national. They pay their drivers, I know, a good salary, because we talked to the drivers, and they would go anywhere, and it was.
But is this accomplishing our disability
Yeah,
and senior?
It is. If we're in with 11, then Woodland Park would probably have something along that line with Durham.
The school district?
Uh-huh. If we're talking about District 11, then Durham has got to be.
Well, let me ask you a question. Is it only District 11 that does this?
Oh, I wouldn't think so. I would think.
I think District 11 is the only one that doesn't provide transportation in-house for ages 18 to 21. All the
Okay.
other school districts do
So
provide
perhaps
their
that
own.
is a
Yeah. But I was just
defining
thinking,
factor.
Durham, where they are a private company, they may be,
Well, and
Very
remember that this information can also be added any time to the website, because that's probably where we're going to be
Right.
putting some of this expanded information.
okay.
But I know nothing about that. That would definitely be up to a Teller County person to bring up.
Well, I mean, we
And-
used them a lot
I see.
until they threw us out. But I think that might, that might be something to look at, because they seem to have more parameters than the bus service that was provided with the district.
I think, though, one of the reasons Harrison might have stopped doing it, though, is most local school boards and governments have where if you have a low-cost provider that is based in your governmental entity, you have to contract with them versus a national or out-of-town company so that all your tax dollars stay within the tax base.
I don't think so. I think they're just trying to throw us out. I really do, because, I mean, we worked with them too long. But,
Well, we would
and
need
they
to
may-
find.
Yeah,
Well,
but I
anyway,
just think it might be
that we
something to
have-
look at,
I
you know.
think we do need to make sure that it's all well within the mobility coordinating committee's mission and goals of whatever we're trying to accomplish on this. But again, we can direct people to website for further information.
but
It can be added or deleted at any time.
I would certainly look into him, because he seemed to be very cooperative, you know. And I couldn't thank him enough when we were, you know, out Durant or things, when we had to go outside.
Okay,
of
we'll
things.
define, we'll put down some definitions of what we want this to accomplish.
Okay.
And keeping in mind it's probably for individual users. You know, Miley Gray wanting to, you know, find service for my aunt or something like that, and not corporate entities. But anyway, we'll figure this out. Okay, so thank you. Let's get together afterwards, and we'll just sit down and discuss this. Sounds good. Thank you very much. And now, Silver Key is a provider presenter. Thank you so much.
Just our basic, our organization virtually, instead of
All right. As most of you know, I'm Victoria Sulcer, Transportation Manager for Silver Key Reserve and Ride. So just a little overview. Silver Key's mission: serve in partnership with our stakeholders to support the quality of life for seniors, allowing them the choice of safely aging in place with dignity and independence.
Can you move the microphone a little? Yeah. Thank you.
That good?
Yeah,
Okay.
much better.
Silver Key provides adults age 16 over in Colorado Springs with a wide variety of services. These are a couple of our brand logos. So we have Silver Key Reserve and Ride, which is the program that I manage. Connections Cafe, home delivered meals, senior assistance, active living, and our thrift store. And it is open on Saturdays, so if you ever want to come and find a good deal, there's a lot of great stuff in there. All right, so Silver Key Reserve and Ride is our transportation service that provides a safe and reliable door-through-door ADA accessible transportation for medical appointments, shopping, group trips, meals, social activities, recreation trips, and more. We ask for a suggested donation of $3.50 per trip. The value of the ride is more than $23, but we do not deny based on ability to pay. So this is our service area. This service area is new. Previously, we were able to provide transportation services to Black Forest, the Air Force Academy, up to Green Mountain Falls. But due to cost rising and resources not being able to support that, we had to shrink it in a bit. So we're still doing roughly 140 square miles. The dark purple up top is only serviced Tuesdays and Thursdays. That is Old Ranch Road north to Northgate Boulevard. The light purple is our main service area. And then the orange is Fort Carson, which we service on Mondays. And we're pretty much there from 9 a.m. until 3:30. So, and our new service hours have also changed. Our first pickups start about 8:30, and our last pickup of the day is 4.
So nothing on Sundays?
No, Monday through Friday only. Yep. Just a bit of our fleet information. We have 27 vehicles in our fleet right now. wide variety of types. We have ADA vans, we have 4 of those. We have 12 buses, 7 vans, and 4 SUVs. Our vehicle ages range from 2004 to 2019, and the mileage, of course, 14,000 upwards to 262,000. So we make them last. The funding for vehicles that we've received are Faster, some 5310, and then AAA Capital. And then, as you can see, our new logo, Reserve and Ride. Our drivers, we do have a combination of staff and volunteers. We have 6 full-time drivers and 4 part-time. And then our volunteer pool is around 65. Just for last year, they put in over 12,000 hours and provided over 17,000 trips for us. So.
With 65 volunteers?
Yeah, that's for the whole year. So they range from an AM shift once a week to full days, 4 days a week. Just depending on what they want to do for us. So these are just some stats for our year. This is July 1, 2018 through June 30th, 2019. So Silver Key provided 41,875 trips. A majority of these, about 42%, were medical and dialysis. Grocery trips were next. Adult day program, congregate meals, and then other would include work, personal, education, religious, anywhere they want to go. For last year, we serviced unduplicated 2,096 clients. Our average miles per trip was about 11 miles, and our average minutes per trip is about 42 minutes. So, and that's providing door through door. So once they arrive, unload, and then get them there, unload, and then depart.
Victoria, do you know off the top of your head, and this doesn't have to be a perfect number,
Sure.
out of that top group, that medical dialysis, how many of them are subscription versus how many of them are single medical appointments?
Sure thing. Our subscription trips are about 28%.
Of
our
that
total.
group or of the total?
Of our total.
So over half of that, then?
Yeah. So our dialysis is our main subscription. Unfortunately, we're trying to limit our subscription just to dialysis and day program. So, because we have a lot that are grandfathered in for like bingo, senior center, congregate meals, which we still, there's always exceptions. So, that's it. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Victoria, why would you limit your subscriptions to just dialysis to medical?
Just to try to become more of an on-demand service. So trying to make sure that those trips are set in stone for those clients. But right now our scheduling window is only 2 weeks in advance now. And we've noticed our denial rate has dramatically decreased just by limiting their allowable time to schedule, I guess, if that makes sense. And then for medical or dialysis, it's just, I guess it's kind of something we've always done, is just limited those to that, and then some of our congregate meal sites as well. Any other questions? Yes.
Just one more. Have you seen your cancellations decrease with your shorter reservation window?
No, those are still about 20%. So I think it's just the population that we serve. But yeah, they're still canceling. Yeah. Anything else? Yes.
Could you talk a little bit about how you schedule your volunteer drivers?
Yeah.
Just like how that works.
Yeah, of course. So you guys utilize Route Match just like we do. We create a separate vehicle pool for them. And then typically their schedule is up to the volunteer, of course. So we either schedule them or open their garage times for either a morning or an afternoon. And if we're using a vehicle that has a morning and an afternoon volunteer, we just enter in like a break for them to come in. So, yeah. Anything else?
I just want to thank Silver Key for being such a wonderful partner with community, or with our Connections Cafe, and you guys do an absolutely fabulous job.
Thank you. I'll let them know.
I know this is not transportation specific, but I'm really not familiar with Connections Cafe.
So our Connections Cafe program, formerly known as the Golden Circle program, that was ran by the City of Colorado Springs, Silver Key was asked to kind of take it over. So we have congregate meal sites. I think we have roughly 17 now. 13. So 14. Okay. It keeps changing. So we have 14 congregate meal sites. Some of them are open, which anybody from that community can come in for a meal, and some are closed, like within some of our senior apartment complexes. Some of them have chosen to be like closed sites. But yep, they get served a hot meal once a day.
I was just going to say, Connections Cafe is the only congregate meal provider in the three-county area.
And they provide, the meals are hot meals daily, and they provide 1/3 of everybody's daily nutritional intake. And for the majority of people that get a meal at Connections Cafe, it is their only hot meal that they receive in their daily life. So it's a very important, not only the meal itself for nutritional content, but then the socialization of coming to a senior center really helps with the social and health determinants of aging in place. And then that's where transportation comes in, because without the ability to get transportation to the senior center, we would see a huge rise in people in nursing facilities, and the ability to age in place saves on average over $43,000 per senior in our community when they're aging in place versus going to a facility.
Yes, Joe.
I have a question. Recently, actually the beginning of July, Silver Key almost doubled the price of meals delivered to homes by volunteers. Was that connected to some funding cut, or did something dry up that caused that huge amount of an increase?
That would be a great question for our nutrition department. But from my understanding, it is just a cost increase. We were kind of not keeping up with what it actually costs to provide that meal for our seniors.
Joe, do you know, you're talking about the Meals on Wheels
Yeah.
program?
That's correct.
Which is
Yeah, it went from $5.75 a meal to $9.75.
There's two separate programs.
Yes.
One of them is home-delivered meals, which the Older American Act funds, we fund through the AAA. Those are always anything the AAA does is always a donation. So there's no required cost. Silver Key also operates a program they formerly called Meals on Wheels. I think they changed the name of it to. At any rate, it is
Home-delivered meals, including Meals on Wheels.
Yeah, the Meals on Wheels program is a fee-based service, and it does not have a enrollment requirement of being over 60 and blah, 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 blah.
Meals on Wheels certainly does.
Well, you can get Meals on Wheels if you pay for it. I think it's the best way to put it.
But everyone pays for it, and to qualify, you have to be 60 years or older.
My point is, if you get Older American Act meals, those do not require a fee. There's a suggested donation.
But that's not what the people are getting. We just lost over half of our clients.
Because
I've been a driver for almost 6 years now.
Because of the increase in the cost?
Increase in the cost and a reduction in the choice. No more choices of meals. You don't get a menu anymore with two choices. You take what they give you or you don't get it. You know, it was a large restriction. I figured there must have been some kind of funding problem somewhere. I knew the federal government some people in federal government were unhappy with Meals on Wheels for some reason. but I don't know. It was never shared with us, and we were unable then as drivers to share it with our customers, who were quite upset.
Well, and I think that's where I'm going with my comments, is I'm not sure that Meals on Wheels has a significant federal subsidy. It may subsidize some of the components of the original part, but it really almost needs to be a standalone program where the home-delivered meals are actually a program of the Older Americans Act.
Yeah, I don't know the funding behind it. I just was hoping for some explanation so I could explain it to my customers.
I bet you Peggy Lytle
Yeah.
So
And I think
I've
it was
tried,
Peggy
I've tried twice now to get an answer, and
Okay.
all I get is vague responses. I'll try again.
Okay, and I'll go ahead and try for you too, Joe.
I appreciate that.
And if I have anything, I can bring it back for you.
Okay.
I would like to just add one comment, though. I work closely with Jason. I know that there's been some changes in the programs. I think Silver Key's in the same boat as Fountain Valley Senior Center, and I'll go ahead and speak on Invita because Gail's not here. But we've all maintained our costs really tightly over a long period of time, and we know in our personal lives that costs have gone through the roof. And unfortunately, we just can't all as nonprofits continue carrying the costs that we have for so long. Like some of my rides, I do for $9. I can't even get out of my parking lot for $9. And so the nonprofits have been really carrying a lot of unfunded and costs. And so as we do have to cover, I mean, we're not looking to make a profit, but we do have to cover costs to keep our employees employed and our programs going. And so I think we're just going to see kind of a shift of real cost realization as there's been changes in management across the agencies. All three agencies have had some, not that past management wasn't great, Pat was great, but we all have new eyes and fresh ideas coming in. And so we're just realizing some of our costs haven't been covered. And so we have to make those changes internally.
Yeah, I certainly understand that. What I would say to all nonprofits, if you utilize volunteers, don't cut them out of the loop because they don't know what's going on. And they need to know if you want to keep them. I've worked with nonprofits now for some 40 years.
That's a very good point. Very true. Because they get a lot of questions, and you don't want to say,
Thanks, Veronica. Great presentation.
Yeah.
Victoria, oh my gosh, I haven't slept in like days.
Thank you. We appreciate that. And does anybody have the list? Oh. Thank you so much. Does anybody know do you have the list of who volunteered to speak next month?
I am, I think, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
I have a suggestion.
Suggestion.
Hey, Phil, along with your awesome presentation, maybe if you could reach out to Jason and invite him to come to the next MCC meeting to also present about the transportation plan for 2045?
I think Joe,
Are you? Okay,
he
because
was
it would
gonna
be
handle
great
that.
if they just came here, like, to give the presentation.
I'm sure they'd be happy to do that, and I will invite them.
I feel like I'm at the senior center and you move chairs, and everybody always sits in their same chair, and once they move a chair, I can't remember their name.
He's going back to his other chair with his name tag.
Thank you. Senioritis is contagious, in case anyone was wondering.
Okay, so, great. Thank you. Since I'm the chair, I was reminded I can do whatever I want. So, what I'm going to mention is the September meeting. Jolene has an announcement.
Okay. The Costa Conference is during the September meeting, and I would highly recommend that if you're sitting at this table, you should probably be at the Costa Conference. And that's going to be September 24th through the 27th.
And what does COSTA stand for?
Thanks,
Jolene.
Smiley.
Colorado Association of Specialized
Transportation Agencies. There are scholarships available, and once the scholarship money is gone, it's gone. So I recommend you leave this meeting and go apply for a scholarship. The rooms are fairly inexpensive, and there are like 2-room condos available as well, so agencies can even share if they want to, or have privacy.
And also, Victoria Sulzer, CDOT is covering 2 registration
Yeah.
fees for the conference if you receive funding from CDOT.
Yes.
So I would like to suggest that the September meeting is either changed or canceled and we just pick up again in October. What is easier? What would people like to do? Or hold the meeting, you know? I don't provide transportation. I can come and entertain you. But I do agree with Jolene that if if this is something that's important to your business, that somebody should be at that conference. So what would you all suggest that we do for the September meeting?
Since I'm so shy, I'll just say cancel.
I second that.
Does that sound good to everybody? So we will have an August meeting, and we will pick back up in October.
Okay.
And then move the presenters down, and that'll fill that last slot?
Yeah. Yeah, does that sound good? Does that sound good to you, John? Okay, so we'll be October 22nd. We'll come dressed in Halloween costumes.
And I would like to know, our next meeting in August then is going to be Joe's last MCC
which,
meeting.
Surprise, I had no idea.
Right? Okay,
Okay. So, Joe, you're leaving us. I didn't know. When did you send this out?
Yeah, I sent a batch out, but apparently you folks aren't on it. My last day is October 1st. I'll be retiring.
Congratulations.
Joe, just so you know, we are looking for volunteer drivers.
Yeah, I think this group could keep.
You're about the 10th or 11th person that has asked that.
Yeah, but I'm a
So I'll
hoot.
put you on the list.
She's welcome to volunteer as well.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Information sharing, coordination opportunities, would we like to go around the room and talk about anything that's going on in your world, or if anybody has anything that you didn't talk about in public comments to bring up?
I would just make a very brief comment. I don't know if anybody was here last Wednesday for the military transportation roundtable, for lack of a better term, but we had a lot of the upper echelon military folks here, as well as Governor Polis and some of the specialized providers relative to planning for transportation, not so much specialized, but general transportation, and most of it was targeted around the build grant that is being put forward to expand access to Highway 94, basically fix Highway 94, which is a disaster.
Kind of a disaster, yeah.
And the access to Schriever, and figure out how to get around the dump trucks that are turning left. That went very, very well. The governor was very succinct. Director Liu from CDOT was here, and so there's a lot of impetus behind that. I would suspect that that's going to be something that gets through, and we'll start seeing some action on that. I think there was a little bit of discussion as well about access to the academy and the visitor center in particular.
Karen with Drive Smart Colorado. We are working to ramp up our pedestrian safety this next grant cycle, and we are looking for partnerships on how to support pedestrian safety to and from public transport, with low-income families, with, talk to us. We'd love to make plans with you guys. We'd love to work with you and try to support pedestrian safety in conjunction with the transportation that's here at this table. So thank you very much. Please contact us. We'd love to talk.
Anybody else?
I just wanted to mention that Teller Senior Coalition has just started a partnership with Silver Key to transport meals for the Teller County Senior Center 3 days a week now. So we're coming into the Springs right on this edge of town and picking up the meals, taking them back up to the Senior Center in Teller County on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
I'd just like to thank everyone that reached out to me after the last meeting or shared my information with other agencies. If anyone does have questions about advocacy on their clients or want to chat offline, I am always available because I think we need to always remember who we're serving every day.
Speaking of the Woodland Park Senior Center, Drive Smart's heading up there right after this meeting to give a presentation on older driver safety and perhaps, hopefully, do some car fits for some of their lunchers, their diners. But that's a little tough community because sometimes they remind me that they've been driving longer than I've been alive. So which as each year progresses, I'm finding that harder and harder to believe. But anyway, we're trying. And then tomorrow morning at 6:45, we're going to be back up there at the Rampart Library, or the Rampart room of the library, to give a presentation to the Kiwanis group that's up there. So we're excited to be part. And then we will be also at the Methodist Church. There's going to be a big senior event coming up at the end of August, or in August. So we're excited to be to be up in Teller County, spreading the good word of driving safely as long as you can be safe to do so. So, thank you. Yeah. And again, we're happy to come anywhere to give presentations to anybody on older driver safety.
I would make just a real quick note. If you're somebody who attends, and I don't see too many people in here, who attends our Regional Advisory Council, which is the board for the AAA, this month the meeting is 1 week later. It's on August 1st rather than this Thursday. Usually it's 2 days after this meeting, but this month it falls on the 1st of August.
Okay. Anything else? See, I knew if we kept you long enough, you'd come up with something.
I suspect most of you already know this, but just so everyone's aware, a lot has happened since the last meeting. And one of the things is that NVIDIA's contract to provide specialized transportation to the city of Colorado Springs was extended through the end of September. So we're still able to provide services to the public for the time being.
Phil, do you have any comment on what's going on up in Park County by any chance?
We went up to CDOT last week for the grant partners meeting to speak with Brody up there about the titles to those two vehicles that sit up there in Park County. I think we got to the bottom of who owns them. So that's where we're at now. It's kind of a really deep rabbit hole that we're still plumbing, but we're making progress. Let's put it that way. I think our home care is further along than our transit in Park County at this point.
Anything else, folks? That's fine.
I'm not sure if this is the right time to bring this
Go
up.
right ahead. Go.
but-
I'm giving you the
Okay,
right time.
the chair.
Oh,
We have submitted an application twice now to
I would-
nominate me as the representative for NVIDIA instead of Gail. I'm not sure if that got lost somewhere or not, but
I would like to make a motion to make Phil the primary voting member for the NVIDIA organization.
I'll second that.
I have a question. Would that include moving somebody to your alternate as well? Would that be Gail?
no, actually, Kyle West was named on the application as our ultimate alternate.
That's-
email from Gail that just said
Phil, yeah, if she could just shoot us, or we can take that from the floor. Actually, we'll have to have it from the organization, yeah. So if she can send us that, we can, yeah, if she could send that to us, we can put it on next month's agenda for the alternate.
Sure.
We do have the other one is an email, which I think is good enough, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. I can send it as well if that's acceptable.
Jessica's not so sure.
You know, if we could get it on letterhead,
Yeah.
snail mail,
Email
that
is
would be
fine,
even
it
better.
just needs to be more official than active. Like, it was one line of, oh, you need it.
Well, we put an application, and she actually inked it, so we have the application somewhere.
I can push it through onto August 4th agenda.
Okay, I will.
Approval if the committee here is okay with that.
So we could take it from the
But
floor.
I just haven't seen that agenda.
Yeah, we can take it from the floor here, and then we can get it, then we just need the documentation before it goes into the board agenda. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's not huge.
Okay.
You got it.
Okay, so I would like to motion to add Phil as the primary voting member and
Kyle West.
Kyle West as the backup, pending the official application, but that way when it's received, you're just official. Second?
Yes, second. Sharon seconded. All approve?
Aye.
Yay. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Items for future MCC meetings. I think we have some things that we've discussed that we're going to be talking about, and we'll talk about the progress of this document. Oh, we're
He
keeping
said
that.
it's online.
You guys, you keep it for your work.
We're keeping it.
Are you
for our
sure you
work.
don't want it as of October 2nd in case you need transportation in Denver?
I'm staying away from Denver from now on.
That is a good plan. Anyway, so we have a couple things to discuss. This new document that we're going to be creating and whatever we just talked about, so I can't remember now. Hopefully Jessica got it in the meetings. And so I move to adjourn.
You don't
No,
have
I
to
don't
move.
have to move.
You just say
Fine,
done.
guys, we're done. It's almost been an hour at
Okay.
10:30.
And